cancel too. Hit that like button. Let us know how cold it is where you're gonna get, because it's gonna get really cold here tomorrow. It's gonna be, I think, 12 degrees or something like that, and windy. So yeah, it's gonna be something though. But yeah, get in the comments here. Hit that like button. Let us know what's going on with you here. Make sure we're live. Check in with us. There we go. People checking in. Craig Riley saying the discussion of workforce mobility is incredibly timely and insightful. Wow.
Yeah, no excuses for everybody else not watching. You didn't have to get out like we did.
Yeah, we're here live, giving you a virtual live stream here. But we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff. We're gonna be talking about the fun stuff. We're gonna talk a little bit about Rachel's story, talking a little bit about kind of the new administration, some of the challenges from an immigration standpoint, talking about food. I actually really got to know Rachel for the first time on a kind of deeper level on I think it was a bus going to a Rangers game here where we got to really chat. Well, it was that, and then we also had a game over in Frisco, something about baseball, and we connected over Italian food.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And you had some pretty strong opinions about Italian food too, Rachel. What are your views on Italian food, and are there any good places to find Italian food in Dallas?
Well, that's because my husband has an Italian background,
Okay.
so. I mean, of course, I used to think that you could get good Italian food almost anywhere.
Yeah, there's Olive Gardens everywhere.
I mean, but that was until I met my husband and I was introduced to his mom, who, of course, was born in Italy. And she cooked for me. And then that's when I knew better.
Did she teach you any of the recipes? Like sometimes some people don't let you in the kitchen. And some people are like, come on, let's go.
Oh, hands-on, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
so are you like rolling your own gnocchi or something? Like what are we talking about over here?
Definitely learned how to make, homemade pasta and, mozzarella and, just, good bread and all of that.
Oh, I love it.
And of course, years ago, you couldn't get that here. There was no such thing as getting, the fresh ingredients here in Dallas-Fort Worth.
So you had to make it.
Well, you had to even making it, like we found out the trick was, it was explained to me by taking my first trip to New York City that the key ingredient in making like mozzarella and most other things is the water. So anybody that doesn't know that, so we would go up there and we used to, funny as it may sound, is we used to bring home the fresh mozzarella and the, delicious things that you couldn't get here from New York.
I thought you were going to tell me you brought the water home.
Oh, no, we would just bring the cheese and other things here.
Yeah.
But, now, you can get good things here. There's great,
There's some good spots.
There's good spots here.
And we'll talk a little bit about that. Check in with us. Get in the comments here. Let us know what you think there about Italian food. Can you find it everywhere nowadays? Get in the comments here. Krista Moore checking in. Hey, everyone. What's up, Krista? Good to see you. Daisy Sinclair checking in here at Glomo HQ. What's up, Daisy? Jack Jampel. Hi, all from the home of the world champion Eagles. Oh, no. Oh, are we Eagles fans here? A little bit?
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I don't.
Congratulations.
I don't know. It depends. I'm not a real big sports fan. I'm more.
Then don't start with the Eagles. If you're not a big sports fan, don't.
It depends on who's on the other side. I'm all about the crowd, who's there, and and kind of like what we're eating.
Oh my goodness, yeah, what we're eating. I'm with you on that. Janet Olkowski saying "Go Birds." We got Eagle fan coming out of the woodwork here. Congratulations, Jack. I hope you enjoy it. Rob Zeitz, hello from wicked cold Cambridge, Mass. Why do you guys always have to make me hungry with food talk?
Oh, it's all about the food. Yeah, sorry.
It's what we have in common. I would have called this food and relo, but hit that like button, get in here. Krista says, I love Italian food. Homemade pasta is the only option. Get in the comments here. What is your favorite Italian dish? I'm going to ask you, Rachel, favorite Italian dish.
Oh, gosh, that's so hard. It really depends on who's preparing it, but I can go with just probably
or that one thing that you like look forward to or something, that's just like feels like home to you, maybe, or is kind of that comfort food? I'm gonna ask Andy too over here.
Yeah,
Andy's in the studio with us.
I mean, probably a good, pesto sauce,
Okay.
and just, but the right form of pasta, but a good pesto sauce.
Yeah.
But, and just, it doesn't necessarily have to be a meat pasta, just a good pesto.
Good
and
pesto.
Yeah, probably
You
pesto
you ever
pasta.
make your own pesto with the pignoli nuts. That's the hardest part about pesto is the pine nuts.
It is.
Good
But,
olive oil.
yeah, my husband makes pretty good pasta.
Yeah, you're the guy, Andy. What's your go-to dish? You want to really impress her? What are you making?
Pasta, maybe like a nice chicken parm.
Yep.
Basically anything that ends in a vowel is good as far as my
Yep.
people are going.
Nice.
A vowel is good.
Nice.
But a good Easter pie is perfect.
Easter pie. What's an Easter pie?
Kind of like a piece of crust, and you fill it with ricotta cheese.
Oh.
It's pretty heavy.
It's delicious.
It's good,
Easter
but
pie, and it's delicious.
Easter pie.
very good, but
Cold the next day.
very good, but pretty heavy. Definitely a once a year thing.
Good but heavy. I get that. I'm with that. Hey, put it in the comments here. Find an Easter pie recipe. Put
Yeah.
it in there. I want to know
I
about
want
it.
to know who's had Easter pie.
If you've had Easter pie before, I thought I've had a lot of things. I've had, a stuffed pie. I've had a Chicago deep dish. I've had a Sicilian. I've had a Roman pie, sometimes they'll call it, with the 2 layers of bread. I mean, I thought I had a lot of things. Get in the comments there. I want to know what you think. You know what mine is? My go-to when the family's in town, my Italian in-laws are in town, I make a chicken piccata.
Oh,
I make a chicken
yum.
piccata.
Very
And
good.
Yeah, and I do a little riff on it where I do chicken cutlets. So I do bread them, which is almost like more of a franchise or like a like a chicken parm. Like I do a chicken cutlet with breaded, and then I make it like a little bit of a cream sauce too, because it sticks. So 'cause sometimes it's like a really lemony kind of thin sauce. So I like to thicken it, and I thicken it with a little cream, maybe a little Parmesan cheese, and so it kind of binds on there, and that's my go-to right there. So. Got people checking in from Chicago here. Stacy, Adrian checking in. Look at this. This is great. Sheila Benavides checking in. Hey, Rachel. Look at this. Greg Hoover, great game. Congrats to the Eagles. Greg, that's
Why
very
is everybody talking about the games? We were talking about food and pasta.
They're behind. Greg Hoover says
we didn't have pasta for the game.
linguine with clams or rigatoni with sausage. I like a rigatoni
We had
with sausage.
burgers and barbecue for our game.
Yeah, well, that's a delay. You gotta keep up here with the people. Andy says food and music is what we all have in common. I agree with you. Super cool. I'm gonna get into it a little bit here. And Darren says I'm coming over for dinner. What's up, Darren Burley?
We better get busy.
Yeah, we gotta start cooking here. Nice. You guys do any desserts? Any Italian desserts?
Oh, cannolis.
Cannoli? At home, you make them?
Well, we certainly have. My husband makes cannolis.
Yeah. Do you buy the shells or make the shells?
Buy the
And then
shells.
you make the cream, right?
Make the filling,
The
yes.
mascarpone. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And then you go to your doctor, you find cholesterol.
Like, doctor, but you should have had it. You had to be there, doc.
Exactly.
That's what you tell the doctor.
All good things in moderation, including moderation.
Yeah, moderation and moderation. There you go. I want to get into it and ask you a little bit, though, Rachel. So we've had, this administration change, and people are kind of talking about this, and I know that you deal firsthand with immigration and everything. So, how have you been kind of adapting to the changes that we've been seeing?
It's hard, right? I would say that, we've really been trying to prepare, the last year or two, knowing that we were probably going to be facing some changes. And, knowing that, we've got a really strong, workforce at our company, a lot of young workers, and, a lot that are, not necessarily in the U.S., in other countries. And so we've put a lot of time and effort in a rotation training program. And, years ago, it used to be really common to have a J1 rotation program. And I'd really be interested in knowing how many companies, have an active rotation program. It may just be that our company, didn't for some time. But years ago, the company I worked for, we did. And then, several companies, I worked for since really didn't. That just
Yeah.
wasn't the quick way to bring on, IT professionals. They didn't invest in that. And
Yeah, I want you
Yeah.
to explain this, and I do want to ask people out there. Have you seen J1 rotational programs? Have you seen more of them, less of them, same? Let me know in the comments here. Check in. If you don't know what a J1 rotational program is, I'm going to ask Rachel that very thing right now. So, Rachel, explain to folks out there who don't know what a J1 rotational program is.
So it's an opportunity to bring your employees. So it has to be one of your employees that you have overseas already, and you want to bring them here short term to the States, perhaps 60 days, 90 days. It's a short term, and they can come here to your various offices. You'd have to be very specific to the location they're going to come to receive training, very specific project on-site training from your team, your managers, your team members, so that they can grow and learn and, various, things, and to help them decide, what their future with your company is going to be. So, they don't know yet, right? And then they can return, to their home country and then develop and grow. And that for us is then, maybe that's going to then give them, again, the sense of figuring out what they want to do long term, but also maybe, they're not ready to decide, do they want to come to the States full time, potentially permanently. A little bit more time to go back home and figure that out. But then at that point, maybe they can pursue another means of immigration to come here, like an intercompany or something like that later on.
And what's the benefit to the company? I can understand the benefit to the employee because you get this training, you get some exposure, you get this, assignment. But what is the benefit from a talent standpoint to the company?
I would say the commitment, because, you come here for a rotation program with a company, then it's not like you can leave our company and go do that for another company. You're committed to come train and be with us, and then you stay with us.
Yeah.
You then have to.
Is there a commitment on the employee's part at that point that's written out, or is it just kind of
It
more?
is. It's a very specific training development program. And you basically, that can't change. Otherwise, you would have to then, like refile and update that with the company. But the good thing, in my opinion, with those rotation programs is you're still benefiting like the overall like workforce, and even like relocation, because the housing, is also a part of that, because the temporary housing supports us when we bring them here. Kind of looking at it that way, they're all a part of that plan when we put that together. So, we use the same companies to help, bring them here by travel, house them temporarily. And it's been a pretty good investment. And so we're just seeing, it's a lot of work, right? But we have a huge team internally that has put that together and sees a great benefit in it.
Yeah. Hit that like button, get in the comments. I want to know what questions you have for Rachel, as we're talking kind of about immigration, a little bit of Italian food, other stuff like that. So with the new administration, we're talking about, maybe an increase in these J kind of rotations. But are there other types of changes maybe to the strategy that you're seeing, or you're hearing other people, talk about doing?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
No, yeah. Are you seeing people take different kinds of strategies around maybe maybe their H-1Bs, or maybe other types of visas, or just where they're even going to maybe put talent if it's not here in the U.S. or they don't feel like somebody can come over?
Yeah, that's and that's kind of really where people are stuck, right? That's the unknown. Right now we're kind of wondering if here in the next 30 days we're probably going to see is are things going to go the way they did with how it was the last time,
Yeah.
our administrator was, the
Yeah.
administration was in place.
Yeah.
What's the potential travel ban, going to look like? And, just trying to make plans for that. And, is it going to look similar? Is it going to be a little different? It's,
Do you think that people are bracing for like budget impacts to this, like in terms of their mobility programs?
well, for sure, because that's all increased. Every year the costs increase.
Does it seem like it gets more expensive every year to move people?
It seems like every year it does. And I mean, the government fees increase for everything.
Yeah.
Well, and the cost to go somewhere, the travel's increased.
Does that keep up with inflation, or is it outpacing inflation? Because we've seen, the cost of all goods go up and the cost of labor go up, and I'm always wondering, is that like a macro, like is that just inflation, or is that because the price of moving and temp housing and professional legal services or whatever are going out, and it's maybe outstripping kind of inflation.
and I wonder too if how much of it is it because they outsource some of the work, or I mean, and then that it's like everybody is getting rid of so many of their employees too. It's like I read the latest was for Southwest Airlines, they're
They're going through a big layoff, aren't they? I thought I saw 1,500 people or something.
17 or I
17?
mean something around that range, and I that really surprised me.
Yeah.
So then what?
That's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot, and we're seeing that kind of throughout. Get in the comments here. Let us know what you're seeing out there in the market. If you're seeing layoffs, if you're seeing things like that impacting, what your thoughts are maybe about costs and things as well. And it's funny as we talk about costs. I mean, and every year there's price pressure. At least that's what I hear from my RMC friends and from folks on the service provider side. Is there's always price pressure and stuff to get costs lower, and yet they continue to rise. And what's the rub like there, and how are corporations going to deal with that? I mean, do you think that they're going to cut benefits, or are they going to find new ways to justify it to the business?
Well, and that's one thing. That's one thing we have not done. I mean, that's competitive. Definitely, we're very competitive there. I mean, if anything, you'll see us, not doing as much travel, or not doing as much, like immigration, or something to that effect. But our benefits those packages are very competitive. But that was another thing too. I was interested in talking about too, is if companies are still do tuition reimbursement packages, if that's gotten stronger, more recent, or they've kind of dropped somewhat on those just because of times being a little more difficult with that. I'm just curious about that kind of thing too.
Samara, let me ask you here. Our producer Samara here is in college right now and would probably love for somebody to come along and pay her tuition. Are you hearing kids and graduates and stuff that you're going to school with talking about employers doing tuition reimbursement as an option, or is that not widespread expectation?
I think when I took tuition reimbursement, it's a part-time job within that students do while they're still in college.
Okay. So they're working. I mean, it's like a paid internship more than.
I had a friend who worked for UPS, and they gave him tuition reimbursement.
Okay.
And worked for Dutch Bros. They give her about $5,000.
Okay. Is that for a master's degree or for an undergrad degree? Undergrad.
Undergrad.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
There you go. I know
There you go.
Home Depot used to do it back in the day. The U.S. government. Let me ask you though, when you look at what employees are kind of asking for from mobility standpoint, I mean, are you seeing a increase in demand for transfers or assignments, or would you say there's less demand for transfers? Just kind of like your gut feel.
I think it depends on the type of work. I mean, probably consulting type work and IT in general, probably an increase. I mean, I think it just depends on the type of business need. My company, decrease. I mean, just, accounting, tax, firm, definitely just, I would say it's the same or, what it has been. But the companies that I've worked for previously where they have to, go on site or, travel a lot, globally, I would say increase.
Yeah. I'm curious about learning and development. And, we talked a little bit about tuition reimbursement and things. And you're talking about kind of these J visas, I think you mentioned. But, I mean, from a learning and development standpoint, what do you think the opportunity is, like, within the global mobility industry to impact the learning and development strategy for a company? Is there a real play there? Should that be a part of thank you, Samara. Samara noticed I was talking. Hello, anyone there? But no, I mean, do you think that mobility can be a learning and development tool for a company? Or is that asking too much of it?
I mean, tying in learning, development, and mobility. I hope so. I would really hope so. Immigration mobility is always where my heart has been. And, learning development where I work today is pretty big. I mean, we've got a large, team that does learning development. And so my goal was to try to, kind of, connect the two more and see what we can do to grow that. But haven't quite figured that out because we've all been pretty busy. So, we're working on that, but, I would hope so. But, that's kind of a good question.
Yeah. And maybe it's a question for, chief people officers and stuff and where they think that mobility fits. But I always feel like we're trying to examine the value proposition for global mobility and what it's doing for a company. Is it purely reactive, like, oh, I have a project over here and I need to deploy people to that project? Or are we doing it more proactively, kind of like you were talking about the training rotations and things like that? And I always like to see it, used more in a proactive way. I just think there's so much more opportunity
Right.
that way. We had talked about something. I'm really fascinated about this return to office trend that seems like it's going on right now. What are your thoughts on this whole return to office thing? It feels like a constant headline. Where do you stand with this?
Well, I mean, I like it. I love the flexibility. I love the option. So, of course, I love going to the office, but I wouldn't want to go every day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Why
do you? Let's talk about it. Why? Let's click into that. So, why do you like going to the office?
Well, I mean, I'm a people person, right?
Yeah.
So, but so I think back in times before, offices closed down. I think back, okay, well, I used to go to the office every day and there was no choice, right?
Yep.
Well, then offices closed down and, when everything reopened, we then all of a sudden had a choice. We didn't have to go into the office. And so I was trying to...
It's kind of weird to have a choice.
Well, right,
you never
right.
had a choice.
So I was trying to encourage, some of the team to, let's just go and, maybe, I don't know, once a month.
Do you feel like the weird person when you're like, hey, let's all meet up at the office?
Well, let's go to the office and then go have lunch. Oh, well, we could just go have lunch. We don't have to go to the office.
We'll skip the office. We'll just have the lunch.
I'm like, and so then I found myself just going to the office and like going by myself.
Yeah.
And there was a team that would be in the office, more a team that was, collaborative, that did work better together,
Right.
that needed to be there, together. But it wasn't my team, so it wasn't one that I worked with, and it was great to see them.
Did you ever go over and like hang out and be like, hey, you guys going to lunch?
It was great to see them and all, but I was like, something's missing here. But, I was driving, like 30 or 40 minutes to go to the office to sit in the dark in a corner by myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just need to just go check it and see what the what's like out there. What am I missing?
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And
That's what
that
caused you
was,
to look around.
and that was very difficult for me because I loved the people that I worked with, but I wasn't working with them. I wasn't seeing them.
And so then what'd you do?
So I just went out to LinkedIn and went online to go see if there was any positions open that I thought, caught my eye. And
That's so crazy because that's like the opposite of what I hear. I hear people like, oh, I don't want to go to the office. I'm going to go find a job where I don't have to. And you like did the opposite.
I did. And it's really interesting because, Baker Tilly, I mean, great place to work, I found. But the funny thing is no one from my team is here in Dallas Fort Worth. Now there's a lot of people here, but my immediate team works in different locations in the States. There's a lot of local people though that I've met. They're great, and they are in the same organization, just not my direct team. So I go, I find myself wanting to go to the office, a day a week, and that may change over time, but I would say most teams, 2 or 3 days, the ones that, need to work, collaboratively together, they do choose to go in 2 or 3 days a week. And that's that, I would say, that's because they're all here based together and the team leaders, decide that. But my team, for the most part, HR, we're on a lot of calls and it's difficult to go sit in an open, environment and be on calls or do presentations or that sort of thing. So,
Well, and that's kind of like the thing that people kind of talk about and laugh about is like, okay, we're all coming in the office and then we log into Teams and then we have a Teams call with 3 people that are in their own office or cubicle or whatever. Like, what are we even doing?
right.
And it's because a couple people aren't in the office. So then you got to Teams them in. So you're on Teams either way.
Right.
I mean, we struggle with that here at Global.
For
We're
sure.
a small team, but we had a couple of folks that were remote. And it's like, so even if 4 people are here, but one person's not, how do we navigate that? Because you're still doing a remote thing. So we get the owl, which we
Right.
feel like gives everybody's face kind of like its own time and whatever. But it's being told that I zoomed out on myself. But I'm really curious what people think about the return to office thing and
Where that's going.
and where's it going? Where do you want it to go? And because then there's a lot of people that are like, don't send me back to the office. I'm being productive out here already. It's a big thing. I looked this up. Amazon, the companies that are doing a return to office initiative right now, and there's a long list, but some of the notable ones I made note of here: Amazon, Dell, the U.S. government, famously, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, J.P. Morgan, Chase, HSBC, Twitter, Salesforce are all doing full-time return to office initiatives, full or like 4 days, 4 to 5 days. And I think this is going to really have an impact. Well, obviously to the workforce in general, but also interestingly to our business, relocation, to mobility. Because when people went home, why would you relocate somebody if everyone was working from home?
Right.
I mean, I don't know if there was as much need to do that. And so I think this is going to be really good for our industry too. Do you see,
Right.
do you see an increase in mobility, relocation, or even, assignments from return to office, trends?
I do. I mean, if they make that decision in terms of I think that, if depending on your number of offices, right? I mean, for us, we have a lot of open offices. So it really just depends on the business, right? I mean, if you've got, the office space and that need, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. So then you changed jobs and you went and you found a place where like it was more accepting to go into the office. And so now you go in how many days a week now?
I usually just pick a day.
Just pick a day.
And
but when
because-
you get there, there's more people there.
Oh,
So,
there's
like,
a lot of people in the office.
Now that company that you were at before where people weren't going in, have they changed since? They haven't
No.
changed. It's still
I
the
mean,
same.
as far as I know, I mean,
Yeah.
still the same.
Wow. Super interesting. Stacy, getting in here, get in the comments here. I want to know your thoughts on the return to office trend that we're seeing. Obviously, some companies are also taking the stance like, well, hey, if you don't want to go in, come work here because we're fully remote forever, you know. So there are those out there that are using that as a talent strategy too. Stacy says, I agree. I love the choice. I enjoy collaborating in person and the natural conversations and learning that just happens from bumping into or sitting next to someone. Yeah, there's a lot of that happens. Now, the flip side also is that there's a lot of distractions that happen. You know, we chat all the time here, and like we get off track.
Definitely.
And, you know, we take a long lunch and go somewhere and socialize and stuff like that. You know, so some people point to that and say, well, I'd be more productive at home. You know, why are you making me come in just so I can, chit chat and get, off track? Do you think it's different based on like what your job function is? Like if you should be in the office or not in the office? Does it lend itself to more different job functions?
And and I think sometimes it's, it's not healthy too. I mean, if you work at home and you're just, you're just sitting there at the computer all day. And I mean, if you're good about taking breaks and you can get up and, walk away and, just, get a break from it, maybe have a routine, then that's good. But otherwise, the good thing about being in the office is that does allow you to step away, go to lunch, or take a break and, talk with your peers. And because it's not healthy to be, in a room, looking at walls all day. And all of a sudden you turn around and it's like, oh my gosh, it's 3:00 and I haven't eaten anything all day.
Yep.
It is so easy to do.
I'm the opposite. It'll be 3:00. I've eaten 4 times. Like that was my biggest distraction when I was home was that dang kitchen over there. Like 9:30 bowl of cereal, in between my 10:30, 11 o'clock call, whatever, maybe I'll see about that lasagna that I left over from the night before.
But I guess it depends because some people are at home and if they're on calls and, they've got, like pets or family members and they have to close the door and then
they come in
keeps
anyway.
them away from the refrigerator.
Yeah, they come in anyway, and like you're trying to have a call and like and I think we give a lot more grace than we used to give in these situations. I mean, I say that. Like we understand people's situations and like you'll see somebody in the back, but it is kind of distracting, like
Yeah.
I was on 11 Relo once and I'm not going to say who it was but y'all can watch all 650 episodes and figure it out. And I was interviewing
When you're bored.
when you're bored, put it in the AI and see what it comes back with. And there was I was interviewing a woman who I guess had a townhouse. And I guess she worked in the living room of her townhouse. And in the background is her kitchen. And we're about 40 minutes into the interview. And in the background, a guy walks in, her boyfriend, I think, walks in. And he's like, he had like a tank top on or something. He goes in the fridge, pulls out a half gallon of milk, starts hitting the milk right out of the fridge, and he's just like, yeah, so about that Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, what's the impact? Like we're trying to sound intelligent, and there's a guy just housing a quart of skim back there, and you're just like, okay.
Well, there is that option on the, Teams to set your background, whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess we should have enabled
Fancy
that
technology.
but she's no longer with the company. And from an inclusion standpoint, I mean, everybody doesn't have a place they can work like that at home too, right?
Right.
And I think that's tough, especially for early career people.
Well, and that's the other thing too you're not aware of when everyone works at home all day, every day is, how is their mental health and
Yeah.
how are they doing at home all day, every day?
Yeah. If I didn't work outside the home, I wouldn't get any steps in, by the way. Like you know, I'm fortunate the bathroom's half a block away. You know, like I wouldn't get any kind of steps in, so I think it's good for my physical health too. Although you wouldn't.
So we
notice
can
it.
eat our Italian food.
Yeah, and now only eat once during the day. It's nice. It works out. Rob Zeitz says, whichever setup a company chooses, it should accept it may need to adapt to it and help employees adapt, i.e. change training methods, find new ways to team build, encourage commuters to want to come in, and so on and so on. Yeah, team building. I mean, that's, I don't know what do you do? Never have I ever on a Teams meeting. I mean, it's like, what do you do? Sorry, you got answers? Icebreakers? It's a lot of icebreakers.
Yeah.
Two truths and a lie. Has anyone had a good icebreaker or virtual team building thing? I'd love to know. Have you seen any like that? Any, Rachel?
I'm going to say we do pretty good team building icebreaker things, but that's
Virtually?
But I was going to say, that's not for, return to work, coming into the office things. But I don't know, return to office stuff, motivational stuff for coming in. I mean, we put on pretty good, I would say just like snacks and, every now and then they'll do nice lunches and breakfasts.
To get people in the office?
And just too, like just busy seasons and
Yeah.
because they know it's hard to get out.
Oh, sure. Like I'm tax season, I'm assuming, right?
Right.
Tax. Yeah, which you guys are probably kind
Sure.
of coming up on right now. You guys are in it.
Busy season, right?
Yeah. People are getting in the comments here. Sheila Benavida says NTRP is my gateway to connecting with people. We've been work from home since March of 2020. Yeah, y'all had a
hi
big old
Sheila,
office.
that's right.
Y'all had a big old office out there in Danbury, Sheila, and I think they got rid of that space, but maybe took a little bit back. I'm curious, Sheila, what your thoughts are there. Jack Taylor says mobility as a benefit to help employees get to lower cost of living states with the perks of corporate relocation. The employee paying in full to the company with discount would work well for remote employees, in my opinion. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when everyone went remote, you hear all these stories of people moving to low cost areas. Everyone from New York was moving to Tennessee, and everyone from California was moving to, well, I guess Idaho is now high cost, but you know what I mean? Like everyone was moving everywhere.
Right.
And now it's like, all right, everybody come back on in. And they're not necessarily getting relocation benefits to come back. Yeah. Because their move before was self-sponsored. So now it's like, well, come on back on your own dime. That's there's a little bit of a reckoning with that I imagine is happening right now.
Right.
Yeah. I wonder if companies would
So
pay
I'd
to
be
relocate
curious what they would, would they do some kind of, like lump sum packaging or, what?
But it's kind of like employee's choice, right? Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Rob Zeitz is suggesting pasta Wednesdays. That's an innovative, Rob. I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, pasta will feed a big group.
Big old group. I mean, do you guys, see these potlucks anymore? Back in the day, we used to have these potlucks, right? It'd be, Thanksgiving potluck or holiday potluck or whatever. And when I was in Michigan, we would do these potlucks. I don't feel like people do these anymore. Have I been out of the loop, or is there a big old Baker Tilly potluck that I'm missing? Doesn't feel like it, right?
Yeah, no, they usually just cater things.
Yeah,
or
you're not asking the accountants to put.
Or we did have
we
did have a very nice, like formal Christmas, party. But yeah, not a potluck.
Nobody's cooking anymore.
Right.
Yep. Thanks, Sheila. Hosea Botley. What's up, Hosea? It's good to see you. Rachel, this is fun. I want to hear a little bit about your personal story, though. I want to just take a few minutes and ask you kind of how you got here. And I'm not talking about the traffic today. I'm talking about, generally speaking, how did you find your way into global mobility? What's your global mobility story?
Oh boy. Yeah, that goes way back. Let's see. Well, corporate world, I got introduced back in the day through EDS.
Okay.
So I started off there. I got, into EDS through the credit union,
Okay.
but recruiting is how I went to the
Really?
recruiting team at EDS.
Now, was this internal
And-
recruiting or external recruiting?
Internal
Okay.
recruiting. So I actually did I did the advertising for the recruiting team, and
And what was advertising for the recruiting team like back then? Because we do
crazy.
recruiting. Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, because back then, everybody ran paper ads for their positions. So I was so busy running newspaper ads.
Yeah.
So this was
So you're running a ton of newspaper, ton of print ads.
Oh, ton. So
Yeah.
they brought me on to place their newspaper ads. So this was, this was early. Gosh, this was 90. This was like mid 90s.
Yep.
And that's how I actually got introduced to immigration, because I met the immigration manager at EDS because she was placing ads for the green cards. And I asked her, I'm like, what are these ads that you are requesting? What are these for? And I would ask her questions every time she placed them.
Tell us what that means, because I don't even know.
Well, so if you want to, get a green card for one of your, foreign workers, you have to test the market. So you have to make sure that there's not a qualified, willing, and able U.S. worker that can do that wants that job. And the only way that you can there's various forms various ways to do that, but you have to post your job. And that's one way to do it, is run newspaper ads. So you put a posting, and we still do that today.
Wow.
We still post an ad in the newspaper. You post a job at the physical
Does it
workplace.
have to be in the newspaper?
Local newspaper. Still today, we do that.
And that's the requirement, the U.S. government requirement for green cards. It has to be posted in the local newspaper? Yes. Even though, nobody's reading the local newspaper anymore?
Yes.
That's kind of weird. Okay.
So we still do that today, but...
So a LinkedIn job post doesn't count for people?
Right. Oh, that does not count.
Okay.
No, does not count.
Okay. Really interesting.
So that's how I really got to know her. In fact, you know her. Her name's Jane Woolston.
Oh, yeah. From Sabre?
Yes.
Back in the day? Yeah.
So that's...
I'm seeing Daisy's face over here. She's doing the thumbs up.
Yeah. So that's how that's how I figured out what mobility and immigration was. And then she was like, hey, I'm going to have an opening on my team. Are you interested? And right about that time was when, advertising was slowing down, and sure. And that's what moved me into the immigration world.
Wow, that's super cool. So that got you in immigration, and you never looked back. And
Never looked back.
and
It's really one of those types of fields. I mean, you either love it or you hate it, right? Yeah. I mean, so
why do you love it?
I love it because I like to help people, but I really like to see. I just like to see someone just follow their dream. And I hear their story, where they came from, what got them here, and why they want to be here, and then see it through. And, sometimes you really, you have to show a lot of empathy. Just sometimes it's it's a long, hard road for some people. But it's, it's you're representing, your company, your corporation, and you're hearing someone's personal side. You really kind of have to be in the middle because, there's a policy for the employer, but, but you're getting to know someone personally too. And there's, it's just, but my heart's in it. And, but it's, it's been a great career.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that we have the really privileged position in the global mobility industry, and especially immigration, to be a part of people's journey at such a critical moment in their lifetime. It's such an inflection point in their life, the ability to go live in another country to pursue your dream. Right. It not only makes an impact on that person's life, it makes a generational impact in their family. And I just think I don't think we could do something more impactful. It's pretty cool.
It is. It is. And, just to follow with, along with them, the steps with them. Sometimes, you end up, you getting to meet their family members and then, they get married. And I've gotten, invited to some, weddings.
Do you ever
and
go to
it's
any
kind of-
weddings for people that you've?
Yeah, well, no, unfortunately, because a lot of them have been, in another country.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't been able to go, but.
I'll tell you what, I mentioned this to a couple people. One of my bucket list things to do would be to go to an Indian wedding.
Oh,
I want
me
to go
too.
to an Indian
Me
wedding.
too.
Yeah, and I want to go for like the whole thing. I want to go for like, they say it's like a week or however, how long are we talking here? 3 to 5 days? I'm in.
Wow.
I want to go to a 3 to 5 day wedding.
Yeah.
I know
me
what a
too.
1 day, I know what a half day wedding feels like. I want to go to a 3 to 5 day wedding.
I would love to go sit through one of those.
Yeah, and I would want to get like, is it custom? Can I get my like a wardrobe made for myself and then get all hooked up? I want some custom. Like I want some stuff.
Yeah, what's that? I wonder what that costs.
What does that cost? What do you?
I've
We're asking-
never
we're asking- so-
asked.
well, I'm not the groom. I'm just trying to be like around. A few hundred.
Well, no, even
US
for like a guest.
Okay.
Yeah, all the guests, invest in that too.
Wait, they invest in outfits for that particular wedding, or do they ever again? No, I don't, and I don't have a second one. But I imagine if I went, I would be on everyone's invite list for the next one. Yeah, 100%.
Well, no, yeah, that's just
I need
it.
3 to
You
5, and
can't-
each one's 200, or like the whole. I use a lot of fabric.
Well, then
I use a lot.
Well, then
Me
I
and-
need to
remember
make
when-
more friends because
I need to put a budget, and I need to talk to my wife about
I need
a
to get
budget for
invited to more.
my Indian wedding budget. She's probably gonna be like, "Who are you marrying in India?" Hit that like button. Get in the comments. Have you ever been to a wedding in another country? Put it in the comments here. I think it'd be so cool. Jay Hall's checking in from USA Law. Glennis Swan says, "I'm coming with you, Ben. I've already got a date to this wedding. I just need to find somebody getting married. I've got a whole bunch of people. We're gonna roll deep. I'm gonna have like a half dozen Americans
let's
coming
all
with
go
me.
together.
Yeah, it would be. We just got to find somebody to get married. Nah, we got one person not getting married. Okay, all right, that's fine. It takes, it's the rule of tens, right? It takes 9 no's to get a yes, and we're just gonna keep asking people here. If anyone knows anybody from India getting married, let us know.
I was going to say, I've known several. I just haven't been, like gutsy enough to say, well, can I come to your wedding?
I heard everybody's invited. Like they're big time, right? Like if they thought you would go, they'd probably invite you, right?
That's how that works.
Can you not invite yourself, but can you like suggest that you would enjoy going? On the spot. I think that's what we should do. We just go over there and what's your
Well,
advice
so
for
we just
people
need to
that
go to
wanna-
the offices more.
We need to get in the office. We need to go to the
Go to the
office.
office more. Go
We
out to lunch.
dig through some
talk
of
with
these-
people more.
Dig through some of these applications, these visa applications, and find some people who might have a fiance or something, already like on the back burner, that we could just kind of piggyback on. This is great. People are saying 3 days. Yep. Get in the comments if you've ever been to a wedding in another country. Have you ever been to a wedding in another country, Rachel?
No, I have not.
Samara, have you been to a wedding in another country? Yeah. How many? You've been to a lot of weddings? 3 to 5 weddings. Okay. All right.
Have you? Have you been to another one?
Is New Jersey another country? I don't know.
No, of course not.
Yeah, we have a yes. See, Andy knows what's up. Andy, where are you from
Doesn't
originally?
count.
Brooklyn, New York. All right, my wife's from Staten Island, so it's all for White Plains, New York. Yeah, Jersey's another country. Not like like a Canada. It's like a Newfoundland. It's like a.
I got relatives that live there, and I love them all to death.
Yeah, we love them. They're just not from here. They're not like us. Yeah, they're just different. That's all. They're similar but different, like our Canadian friends. No, this is fun. We're having a lot of fun here. Let's have a little more fun. You want to play a game?
Sure.
We're gonna play a game. All right. I like the
All right.
look of nervousness. That's usually a good sign. Usually means I'm gonna have a good time at least. Sheila's in there. I feel like a pop-up meetup gathering is coming soon.
Oh, yes, Sheila. I'm in.
Love it. Plenty of Bermuda weddings, of course. Very nice. Is that Glennis? chatting there? Get in the comments here. All right, let's get into it. Let's have a little fun here. We're going to play overrated, underrated. And I have to ask you always, there's disclosures to these things. Rachel, have you ever, do you know how to play the game? Overrated, underrated?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, that's what everyone says. Okay, there's only two rules basically. The first is I will give you a topic. You would tell me if it's either overrated or underrated. Those are your two options. Don't overthink it. You do have the opportunity to defend yourself.
Okay.
Because the second one is I will tell you if you're right or wrong. Let's get into it. All right, overrated, underrated. The first topic is hot coffee.
Oh, I would say that is underrated.
Yeah? Why is that?
Because if my coffee gets cold, I go heat it up.
Yeah. How long does that usually take? The getting cold part?
It depends on what kind of cup it's in.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I put a lot of thought into this myself.
I mean, it's like I really enjoy. So if I go purchase iced coffee, that's one thing. Then I want cool coffee.
Yes.
But if I want my coffee warm, then I want to drink. I don't want it to get cold.
Yes.
I don't want it room temperature.
I think we have a real problem with the design of coffee mugs because you know what I like a nice porcelain mug like everybody, and maybe something that has something funny written on the outside, or it's from a place that I visited.
But it gets cold too fast.
It's cold so fast. So I've started heating my coffee mugs up first. I put hot water in my coffee mugs to get them hot to start. Because if they're coming in at 68 degrees off the shelf, and then I put 120-degree coffee in there, whatever the average of that is, I'm already starting off on the wrong foot. So I heat it up first.
But I should try that.
Yeah, and you can also, if you want a little cheater, you can stick your coffee cup on top of the coffee maker, and it'll get warm from that process. They do it with espresso cups in the home country. So there you go. So that's one thing I do. But I've also started drinking out of these insulated coffee cups.
Oh, yeah.
For that reason. But now you're drinking out of metal and not porcelain. It's
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hot coffee. I'll tell you what, as I've gotten older.
Do you like iced coffee?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So.
I like iced coffee. But you're right. It's
you
like
got to be in the mood.
It's for like there's a purpose behind them. Daisy's a fan of warming the mug, thanks to you, Ben.
Oh,
It's not a total cure-all silver bullet, but it gives you another 15 minutes.
Right.
It's sometimes the difference. All right, you got 1 point so far, Rachel.
Okay.
All right, watch out.
Really, I'm getting graded.
Yeah, 100%. It's not fair. It's life. Okay. Here we go. All right. What they say, a fair is a place you get cotton candy. Anyway, let's go. Overrated, underrated. Sleep.
Oh gosh, sleep is so underrated.
How much are we talking about? Like Rip Van Winkle or like 8 hours?
I mean,
what are we talking about?
I mean, everybody needs a good 8-hour sleep.
8's the number?
I think 8's a magic number.
8's a nice round number.
8's a nice round number, but if I could get more than 8,
you take it.
I'd take it.
Well, you
Well,
could.
and too, I think it also has to do if someone can take a nap.
Okay.
I think some people like to put in a good afternoon nap.
Yeah.
But I can't take naps.
You're not a napper?
I'm not a napper.
Are you anti-nap? Are you one of those people that like looks at another person napping and
No,
like
I just
this lazy?
I just can't take a nap. I just can't seem to just like stop in the middle of the day and fall asleep.
Well, it's not like you're stopping because you probably weren't going that fast if you need a nap. You're probably just kind of like.
But then I tell myself too, if I nap, I may not be able to fall asleep that night. And then I won't be able to get my good full 8-hour sleep. And I don't want that
There's
either.
a lot of psychology here.
Yes.
Yeah. This is interesting. So a REM cycle is 90 minutes. And that means an hour and a half, 3 hours, 4.5, 6 hours, 7.5. So 8 is either like too much or not enough. It's kind of in the middle. So it's like maybe we should try to go for 7.5 or 9. Maybe you really need 9. Maybe you're a 9 person.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I probably get 9, right?
There you go. Now the truth comes out. The truth comes out in overrated, underrated.
But no, I mean,
it always does.
A good number.
Yeah,
Eight's-
eight's the
I mean,
number. Andy's an eighter.
Eight's
That's probably
what-
been eighters for a
Eight's
while.
what I aim for.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, sleep is great. Sleep is one of those things I don't think I put a lot of stock into until I got older in life, and honestly, until it was my job to make sure other people slept, i.e., had kids. I don't think I really valued it until you're like sleep deprived. It's like having kids is like SEAL training. You're like on the beach and you're like holding a log over your head
Well,
and just
and you see,
on
too,
36 hours.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. If I would have been on this show, like 20, 30 years ago, could have been totally different
Yeah,
response.
sleep is for the weak. Sleep when I'm dead.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Sleep. Yes. Underrated. All right. 2 points for Rachel. Watch out. She's coming. All right. Third one up here. Overrated, underrated. Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, man. I love Girl Scout cookies. My daughters were both Girl Scouts.
I didn't know that. Imagine I did. That'd be weird.
Oh, and my house, that was cookie storage.
Cookie storage.
I was cookie mom.
How many packs of Girl Scout cookies did you personally buy on average each year?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you that. I don't even want to go there.
I bet Andy will tell me.
Oh,
30?
We're like repeat.
30 packs.
We're like repeat purchasers. Because we will buy from multiple Girl Scouts just because they're so cute.
Because they're all in the troop. They're all friends.
And they all
Maybe-
ask us, and it's like, oh, sure.
Hey, what happened the other week when you found out somebody was selling cookies?
Well,
what happened?
first of all, let me just tell you. Do you know that there are 2 different Girl Scout bakers?
No, like
Okay.
production facilities?
Yeah, there's 2 different bakers.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Are there
so-
different qualities in the
So
bakeries?
the tastes of the cookies are totally different. And so
This is like a scandal. Is
yeah.
this proven or is this a conspiracy theory?
Oh no.
This is breaking news.
Oh yeah. So I'll take it from the experts here that have been eating these cookies for a long time. So if you like, say like lemon flavor,
Sure.
for example, the lemon cookies, are totally different between these 2 bakeries.
What am I supposed to be looking for? Which one's the superior bakery?
Well, they're both good. It's just that one of them is more of like the sandwich like cream. One of them is just like a kind of like a flat like lemonade cookie.
Oh.
It depends.
And are there variations in other cookie types?
Yeah. There's variations in the other cookie types too. I would say the thin mint type
Thin
cookie.
mint.
So
I love a thin mint. That was
Yes.
a long time favorite.
very
of mine.
very similar, but the thin mint for like the one is preferred over the other in my opinion.
And how can we tell which bakery they come from?
Well, it's written on the box. It'll tell you which the pictures on the boxes are a little different.
What am I looking for
So,
on this box? Is there an identifiable mark?
I can
It's like when you get a nickel from Denver or
Well,
something,
I
there's
can-
a D on it.
I might have to get back to you. I can't remember the names of but the names of someone else might be able to chime in. And
Get in the
say.
comments here and
There's-
break this story wide open for us.
The names of the baker is on the box, and the faces of the pictures of the girl they're different on the boxes, so you will know.
Stacy knows about this. She says
Yes.
one of them makes a couple of the options vegan, and the other bakery
Does
doesn't.
not. There you go. That's
And
one difference too.
And are they sold in the same market, like in the same town? Can I be exposed to two
so
different
get
kinds?
this. That's another thing. I used to think that it had to do with the, kind of like more of a region thing. Like we ordered some from one Girl Scout that lives up in like the Boston area.
Oh yeah.
Okay, totally different baker. However, one of my friends that just lives over she lives over in like the Hurst, Euless, Bedford area, and she's got the different baker than the one that lives here locally.
Which one was the better baker?
Well, majority of the cookies, I like the baker here that's on this side, but I like the lemon cookie, and there's 2 cookies that I like better from the other
Boston baker?
from the other bakery.
Wow. Okay.
So it just depends.
So what are your, we don't often do top fives on this, and we never do them in between a segment and a segment. But give me your top 5 favorite Girl Scout cookie varieties. We're talking about these lemons a lot, and I'll be honest with you, I don't put lemon in my
Top
my top 5
5.
normally. But
Does it have to be in order, 1, 2, or just random 5?
reverse order 5.
Reverse order.
We're making this hard.
1 being the best.
This is like a field sobriety
being
test. Go ahead.
1 being the best is probably the Samoa,
I love
the
a
coconut
Samoa.
one. Oh, and by the way, do you go to Aldi?
Occasionally, I don't brag about it, but yeah. I do
Okay. Well, then, if you go there, then you need to try their cookies because they have go there when you run out of Girl Scout cookies because
Okay.
year round get the Samoa, the Aldi brand cookie that looks like the Girl Scout Samoa.
Okay.
And it's really good and it has a little bit more caramel in it. So if you like
Okay.
the caramel, you'll love
I
their
do.
cookie. Do you agree? Have you had it? See?
Okay.
So if you like more caramel and less coconut, you'll
Yeah.
like all these cookies.
All right, beautiful. Samoa's
Okay.
number 1. I'm with you there.
Probably then the Thin Mint because I like those out of the freezer.
I love the Thin
and
Mints
I like
too. That's
those
my number
like
2.
all the time out of the freezer.
Oh my gosh, they're so good.
And
And you ever like
then-
crumble them up for like ice cream topping and stuff
so
like that?
good.
Yeah, big time.
And then probably
The tag along.
Those
the
are the
peanut
peanut
butter
butters.
chocolate.
Yep, tagalongs. Yep. That's. Oh, and chocolate. Oh yeah, those are nice. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Let's see.
I like your top 5 so far.
Let's see. Gosh, so hard. Then I'm probably gonna have to go with the lemon.
Lemon. Mm-hmm. I do like lemon. I just don't know about those particular
Yeah.
lemons.
Yeah, and I like both of them, both bakeries.
And then what's your number 5?
Gosh, I can't decide. What do you think?
She's phoning a friend. Andy, you gonna bail her out? No,
They
it's not
are
bailing
all
you out.
good, but I'm stuck on the last one. What other ones do we like eating? Did we get a lot of?
What about the? Aren't they called trefoils or like the
Oh,
shortbread
I
ones?
like the shortbread, but it's not on my top. I like those if I'm drinking like maybe hot tea or something, but I
Yeah.
don't just sit there and eat a sleeve of those like I do the other ones.
What are
See-
adventure
Oh,
foods?
you know what? It's the last year for those. Did you hear?
What's
oh yeah,
the
they're
deal
getting
with
rid
the
of those,
Adventurefuls?
and that's why I didn't even want to mention those because I'm sad. Those are gone.
Don't even want to hype those up, huh?
Yeah, those are the brownie ones.
Oh, I never had those.
Yeah, they're good, but I'm not going to list them as a favorite
No,
because
no,
they're
no.
not. They're not a traditional one, and they're
No.
not, and they're apparently not coming back.
I didn't
next
know
year.
they were like new variety. S'mores?
Oh yeah, the s'mores are coming back. The s'mores are pretty good. You know what? You can put the s'more on there.
S'mores in the top
s'more's
5?
good.
Wow. We're going to have to publish this list here somewhere. Rachael Longo, cookie aficionado, top 5 Girl Scout cookies. Number 5, s'mores. Number 4, lemon. Number 3, tagalongs. Number 2, thin mint. And number 1, Samoas. And when they run out, go to Aldi. You heard it here first. Does Aldi make Girl Scout cookie other varieties or just those?
They do.
They do? They knock them
but
all
the
off, huh?
but the coconut I forget what they call them, but that's the one that I like. The other ones I can kind of do without.
Yep.
But if you like the Samoa, then get
I do. And they're
Aldi's
expensive.
version.
Is it me or the Girl Scout cookies getting smaller? The packages? $6.
They went up. They're not all $6. Some of them are $6.50. Oh, the cheap. Yeah, some of them are $6.50.
How much? What's the rev share on these things? I'm always curious. What the rev share is. How much are going to the girls?
The Girl Scouts don't make a lot.
They don't make a lot,
They
right?
used to make like 50 cents a box.
Oh wow! On a $6 box, you're only getting 50 cents. That's like when my kid does a fundraiser, and I got to go to Chick-fil-A on a Tuesday and mention his school name. I'm like, how much is going back to the? They can't just cut a check and be
Not
like
a lot, unfortunately.
65, 70%? Percent, not cents. Percent.
That's girls. That's like Girl
Or
Scouts.
Girl Scouts of America?
In general.
Of America?
Yeah, that's Girl
Yeah.
Scouts after the cost of making the boxes and everything.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
Girl Scout troop that sold them, they usually made about
Yeah.
50 cents.
Okay. All right. Let's keep going here because Rachel's on a heater here. All right. So far she's got
Yeah,
is it
it's
3
warm in
points
here.
or 4 points here? She's got 3 points. See, it's not even me. Samara's keeping track here. So 3 points here. All
Yeah,
right.
how many more questions?
Overrated, underrated. Hang in there. Hang in there. Get her some water here. Hang in there. Cut her. All right. Overrated, underrated. What's the next one? I'm blind over here, Samara. The New York Yankees.
Oh, yeah. Woo!
Overrated, underrated.
You know my answer to that one.
I don't know. What is it?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, definitely underrated.
Underrated? Is it possible? Is such a thing possible?
Team money can buy.
I mean, I hear that.
I'm a Yankee fan
Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah. I mean, 26 world championships, 27? How many? 27 now? Goodness, that's a lot. At one point, it was like a quarter of all of them.
Definitely a Yankee fan.
Yeah. You know, growing up in White Plains, New York, it was funny because I had one stepfather that was a Met fan that would take me to Yankee games. And I had one stepfather that was a Yankee fan that would take me to Met games. It's a very confusing childhood. And so, but in high school was for me was in the 90s. And they were just going through and into college, yeah. And they just won everything in the 90s. I mean, Jeter and Bernie Williams and Girardi and then Posada and Mariano Rivera and Pettit and Cone and all those. I mean, it's just unbelievable teams.
See, we used to like it when the Rangers, God bless them, doing the halfway through the year doing all-time break, then they just flop, and that was the end of the season.
Yeah.
When the Yankees would come down,
You get
August,
cheap
during the hot
tickets.
time of the year, we could get visitor side seats relatively inexpensively
At the ballpark at Arlington.
ballpark.
Back
Yeah.
then.
And then when the Rangers started doing really good, they kind of priced us out of going to see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and also when they have a stadium with a roof now, so you're not like, you're not baking out there.
Best of a lot of the teams, they didn't want to come down and play in the heat.
Yeah, yeah. It was rough. It was rough out there at the ballpark at Arlington. Here, we're getting names here, and we're getting to the bottom of this baking thing here too. And Rob Zeitz can't find the exact finger emoji he wants to use in response to the Yankees being from Boston. Yeah, thanks, Rob. It's a family show, Rob. Okay, let's keep it clean here. Let's keep it classy, Boston. Let's try it out for once. Let's see. Jack Taylor says, "Go Jays." Yeah, Blue Jays are in the American League East. Very nice. Man, I can't say the Yankees are underrated. I mean, I don't care how much underrated. It's like, yeesh. I mean, unless they're like winning like 3 World Series in a row, underrated. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Yankee hater. I'm really not. I've rooted for the Yankees. I've been to 2 different stadiums and all the things. But man, they have to be overrated. If they're anything at all, they have to be overrated. Rachel's like, I'm gonna quit right now. She's gonna walk out, flip a table. She's out of here.
I just say that lately,
Yeah.
but
When was the last time they won the World Series? Was that
it's
it?
been a long
The
time.
2000 World Series or something like that, probably.
Yeah, it's been a
they've
long time.
they've had a lot of good teams, but there's been a lot of parity in baseball lately. Yeah, 2009. Thank you, Samara.
Thank you for looking that
Appreciate that. See, look at her, Johnny on the spot over
Yeah.
here. All right, let's go. You're 3-1 here. Let's go, Rachel. The final one here. Overrated, underrated. Little Italy. Overrated, underrated. Little Italy. Oh, yeah. Well, that should tell you something, right?
Yeah.
It gets littler every year too. I hear. It's like one restaurant now.
I'd say overrated.
Yeah. What's better than Little Italy for people looking to go visit New York's Italian cuisine? I agree with you, by the way. Little Italy is overrated. Last time I was there, a bird pooped on my head, which supposedly is good luck. It's worked out well for me. What, ever happened to you? You're standing on the street corner, waiting to cross. It's like what you get for waiting in New York. That's why nobody waits in New York. You stand still, you're a target. You know what I mean? You got to keep it moving. But what about Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, huh? No?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
youngest daughter got to go there the last trip to New York. She went with an aunt of hers, and she really appreciated it.
Yeah, Arthur
Yeah.
Avenue.
Kind of thing. It's one of those places you just got to go.
You just got to go. Yeah, yeah. What is it here too? Down in Dallas. Is it Jimmy's?
Jimmy's Deli.
Jimmy's.
Oh, yeah. Everybody needs to go
Jimmy's.
there and
Gotta go to
experience
Jimmy's.
that.
Let's go say
It's sandwich time. Seriously.
See,
San
now we
Sandwich.
want to go to Jimmy's.
Jimmy's. What's the order at Jimmy's? What do you order? You go to Jimmy's.
Oh, it's been a while since we've been to Jimmy's. I don't really care.
Jimmy's is a
Anything at
really
Jimmy's.
authentic Italian kind of, we call them pork
So-
stores / deli, whatever, specialty food store down in downtown Dallas. Yeah, something like, I don't know. I just GPS it.
You know, I really don't care. I don't. Yeah,
You know what I love from
I
Jimmy?
can
One of the place things, the mortadella.
anything at
The
Jim-
mortadella you
anything at
get.
Jimmy's.
Yeah, growing up, I thought mortadella was just like, bologna with like pistachios in it. The mortadella at a true pork store like that is just so good. Unbelievable. Yeah. The
But
bread,
see, but that's
fresh
the
mozzarella.
key too, is the bread.
bread. Yeah. Awesome. This has been a lot of fun. You ended at 4-1, a very, very reputable
not
score
too
there.
bad.
I appreciate you going to bat for your Yankees there, no pun intended. We're about to wrap here. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Hit that like button one more time. Show Rachel some love there. We do got Brian Rivers on Thursday, checking in with us as well. So make sure to tune in for that. Rachel, you want to leave us maybe with just a final word or thought you want to share with people?
Well, I do appreciate, again, you having me out today. And for everybody watching, I can't wait to see a replay, see who all was with us today. And sorry for everybody that maybe wanted to spend more time talking about, business. But
We do that all day.
But yeah, maybe again, we'll be back for another, catch up. But it was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
And, stay safe out there because it's supposed to get cold and hopefully the roads are good, but
Seriously. If we're going to be 12 degrees tomorrow, I don't know what like a Chicago's going to be. I mean, they got to be dying up there.
yeah, stay in. That's all I got to say. Oh, and I guess maybe go try a new recipe and make some pasta.
Make some pasta from
surprised.
Square. Yeah, there you go. All right, sounds good, y'all. Thanks so much. We'll see you Thursday. Take care. Thanks, Rachel.
All right, thanks for
It's been great
joining
having you
us.
here.